faculty members somewhere in the engineering colleges in our country. And now few participants may be common from my FDP to your FDP. Is it so? They may get some slides repetition, but most of the slides I changed and work is different. But I hope so they will enjoy the my session, and I will take questions as well. If you have any doubt, any query, you can raise in between the session. Otherwise, you can keep patience till the last 30 minutes. Thank you very much, madam, once again for inviting me. Now I'm starting my session, and let me share my slides first. Yeah, actually, in this talk, basically, what we will discuss here, we will discuss one standalone system which is based on wind energy. Basically, during my research work, I was concentrated on wind energy based system, but currently I am working on wind and solar microgrid system. The one project I received as madam introduced, I have received one grant and I'm working on the microgrid isolated system. That microgrid system is based on solar and wind. That is not discussing that part. I am not discussing here because everything is in progress. The things which I have already have concluded and published, that those things will be discussed here. So here we are concentrated on wind energy based islanded distributed power generation system and its implementation for remote power application. Basically, why I am targeting the remote locations, because distributed power generation may be grid connected, may not be grid connected. But for remote applications, if we are using distributed energy sources like solar and wind, the populations which are living at the remote places, they may get maximum advantage, and as well as at cheaper rate. So basically here we are discussing islanded system. We will discuss the design of the islanded system. We will discuss the problems in the island system. We will discuss the probable solution of the islanded system. How to make uh, good quality power in the islanded system. Basically, why this islanded system is needed? These are the some content outline, and then this is the distributed power generation, why it is necessary, and basically what is distributed power generation. This distributed generation talk about the electricity generation in a reorganized manner that is distributed geographically over the area which is serviced and near to the consumer of energy. We all know there are three parts of basic power system: generation, transmission, and distribution. Basically, in distributed power generation system or isolated power generation system, transmission link is not there. Transmission part is missing. And we all know, being an electrical engineer, being a power system engineer, we all know most of the losses are there in the system due to transmission and distribution. Suppose if we are able to supply power without using the transmission link, such as distributed power generation, where we are using local generation for the local load. That means power is generated locally and it is supplied to the nearby load centers. Then there is no longer transmission lines are required. Just we are connecting generator system from the household appliances loads, and transmission losses is totally eliminated. Ultimately, the entire system becomes energy efficient. So these things are very much important as far as distributed power generation is concerned. And basically, as I told you, in the starting of the session, distributed power generation is mainly in this segment, main contribution is from solar and wind. Now, why distributed power generation is needed? feeding power to the remote locations, as my title of the slide says. Easy control and operation. If our system is not connected to the so many components, basically we all can understand control becomes very easy, as well as power is operation becomes reliable. For increasing the reliable energy share, we will see in later few slides the statistics of our in Indian context. What is the current share of the renewable energy? Till this year, our renewable energy share is around almost 37 to 38%. We are not crossing the limit of 50%. That means if 50% energy share is there, then it will be said as a significant share. But still we are very much lagging in this segment. That's why distributed power generation is required. Basically, distributed power generations are coming from the solar, wind, biomass, tidal, ocean wave, all these things. All these generation sources are contributing. No need of regulatory bodies. Suppose if you want to install your solar rooftop panels, no need to take any regulatory permissions and grid code following all these things. Less expensive, only one time investment is there. For reducing the burden on the grid, because we see every year there are some problems reported in the grid. For reducing the greenhouse emission, all are suffering unseasonal rains. These are the effect of we can say greenhouse emission. For increasing the overall economy, for better living standards, if people are living at the remote places and if we are giving them better power quality at their local generation. Mic of some participant is on, I think so. Participants, please mute your mic so that we should not have any disturbance in the session. So these are the points why distributed power generation is needed. There may be so many points, but I have listed few points here. Increases the energy efficiency. As I told you earlier in the session, if we are eliminating the transmission link from the system, local generation, local load, definitely it becomes energy efficient. Peak load reduction, we can manage the peak loading conditions. Enabling the grid modernization, if we are suppose reducing the burden on the grid, it will give grid time to grid will have time to modernize it. Encourages the third party investor. In this segment, third party investment is very much needed, as well as the scope of the third party investment is enormous. Local control for maintaining power quality and reliability. This is very important term actually. If we are feeding power to anybody, any loading condition, power quality is very important parameter. It is like health of the system. Power quality indices are indicating about health of the system. And if we are feeding poor power quality power to any load, we are not serving the purpose actually. Reliability is additional good feature of any power system. Promotion of community involvement in power generation. We all know mostly load side is passive. They are not bothering about the power system, about the health of the power system. But if generation is taking place from the load side as well, the load becomes active element, right? And this is the purpose of encouraging such kind of power generation, which will enable the load side active. In any system, if all parts are active, they are playing active role, then system becomes automatically efficient. If any system, one or two part is showing some good efficiency, but other part is not showing good efficiency or not bothering about the good efficiency, then entire system will be affected. That's why distributed power generation system is very much needed in current era. Now, why we are motivated to work in this segment? Why distributed power generation should be nurtured much research is needed. The reasons are these many. Natural energy resources are abundant. It is not like European countries where sun is not supplying so much power as compared to our country. In our country, most of the time, sun energy is abundant. Electric grid supply is either costly or not available at remote places. If we consider some hill stations where either power is very costly or it is not practically feasible to supply from the conventional grid. In moving vehicles and trains, ships, etc., there is no alternative. In moving vehicles, you cannot connect this vehicle from the grid. You have to have some kind of arrangement of distributed power generation. Similarly, trains may be supplied from the conventional grid, but if we are supplying from the distributed power generation grid, then it will be much more efficient. Ships, again one example, need of local generating units for critical loads such as hospitals, etc. Though hospitals may be connected from the conventional grid, but grid reliability, we cannot rely on the grid every time for 24 hours. Sometimes grid may fail, sometimes grid is not able to supply the power. Then you have to install some kind of distributed power generation near to the hospital for supplying the critical loads. And basically, this is one simple example of how many components are involved. Basically, the following major components are involved in DG architecture and structuring: wind, solar, biomass, tidal, ocean, power source. Basically, as I told you, in this distributed power generation, load and supply, there are two basic parameters. Wind, solar, biomass, tidal, ocean, these are the power sources. And then generator will involve when suppose wind, biomass, tidal, ocean wave power sources are there. And there will not be any kind of generator in solar because solar itself is generating in DC form and it is a static source of generation. Other sources are inertial sources while solar is not inertial source. Linear, non-linear loads. Linear loads, we all know, induction motors, RL circuits. Non-linear loads means diode-based loads like television sets, laptop chargers, mobile chargers. They all are non-linear loads. We will see the non-linear load effects on the supply system. And then due to the presence of non-linear loads over the generator, we must have some kind of power electronic interface. If we are not using power electronic interfacing converters, then ultimately there will be the issue of compatibility. Generation is there, loads are there, but you cannot connect generator and generation and load without any power electronics interface. Basically, the reason is due to intermittent nature of these sources. Like wind, sometimes wind is blowing, sometimes it is not available. Solar, irradiance changes. Biomass, tidal, ocean, these are all fluctuating type sources. Sometimes they are giving good amount of energy, sometimes their energy generation is reduced. That's why there must be some kind of power electronics interface to make the system much more reliable and compatible. Battery energy storage system, this is an additional requirement. This is one advantage as well as disadvantage. Battery energy, without battery energy storage system, isolated system concept is you can say half. Then auxiliary loading system will provide some frequency balancing act. If we are not using the auxiliary loading system, sometimes real power mismanagement may be there. The challenges in the DG development: selection of suitable site. First of all, we have to select a suitable site. Selection of generation resources such as solar, wind, biomass, tidal or ocean based DG. Selection of generator, especially in wind-based DG, because we are basically focused here to discuss the wind generation based system only. To maintain the voltage and frequency is another problem in such kind of system. Suppose you are using induction generators, in wind-based energy system, wind is continuously changing, our load is continuously changing, load is not in your hand, load may change at any time. Then it is seen on the in case of induction generator, it is seen that voltage and frequency, it fluctuate very fast when there is some load changes occurs over the terminal of the generator. Continuity and reliability. This is another challenge to maintain the continuous supply from the distributed power generation system. Cost constraints. We have to optimize the cost factors. Regular maintenance may be needed. Non-uniform regulatory requirements, lack of experience with DG and tariff structures and all. So these are basic challenges in the development of distributed power generation. This is, I was talking about some statistics why wind energy based DG is required, because I took these statistics from some references, and this is coal, petroleum, natural gas. These estimation reserves are limited here, and they are estimated energy density wise. Cost of electricity. Actually, we can see again, this is one statistics: gas, coal, nuclear, and wind. Now wind energy is much lesser than what is shown here, and that's why it is very much encouraging to use the distributed power generation in the wind segment. And this statistics I was talking about in the starting, Indian renewable energy scenario. This is the data taken from the MNRE website. There is some pie chart where coal percentage is still maximum, 53 point, almost 54%. Gas is only 6 to 7%. Nuclear is very less, 1.9%. Lignite based plants are 1.7%. Diesel should be less, and it is less, 0.2%. Renewable energy is the main concern in this pie chart. Renewable energy share should be more than the coal, but still we are there is enough scope of improvement in this segment, renewable energy. And in this segment, the important thing is almost 13% share is given by large hydropower stations. Basically, large hydropower stations are typical in nature. It requires a lot of investment and time. That's why if we see the short-term investment, this is very less. If you remove 13% from this 35%, it becomes almost 22%. So 22% is very less as compared to some developed countries, European countries. And this is the wind projections basically for European countries. They have projected 400 gigawatt of the wind in the high scenario and 250 gigawatt of the wind in the low scenario. And they have projected up to, the projection is given up to 2030. Types of electric generators basically used in DG. What are the basic electric generators that can be used in the wind-based system or tidal-based system? Then the major type of electric generators. No name is new. Every name you are knowing it. Synchronous type generator, induction. There are two variety: SEIG, DFIG, permanent magnet generator, interior and axial. It is quite costlier, because I was also searching this PMG. Only one Indian company is manufacturing this PMG. BLDC and reluctance generator. Reluctance generator is also gaining popularity in the last 4-5 years. Basically, selection of generator for the wind-based DG system, I have gone through some literatures and I found the induction generator is most suitable based on these characteristics: operating conditions, construction, control, economy, torque weight ratio. Then it can be operated at any speed, either it is fixed speed or variable speed. This is very rugged in construction. Suppose if you are throwing it, nothing will happen to the generator. Control, very easy to control. There is no need of like complex control mechanisms. It is very economic, and it took very that means the maintenance problem is very less, and it is very easy to handle at the some altitude, like because windmills are not running on the horizontal level. It is installed at certain heights, and sometimes for maintenance you have to come your generator at the ground level, right? That's why if some generators are easy to handle, we will give the priority. Torque weight ratio is also very high. That's why induction generator is selected. And one most important feature why SEIG can be used. Basically, SEIG nowadays people are searching SEIG application in electric vehicles also. Other salient features of SEIG is cell protection from the terminal short circuit. This is very important feature because you no need to install any other protection for SEIG operation. Generation of regeneration of residual magnetism. Sometimes suppose if generator is demagnetized, it gains its magnetism again after 2-3 days. Rugged rotor construction I already discussed. Operation and control at different speed. Working principle, suppose if it is not connected from the grid, then you need to have some excitation capacitors to excite it for no load voltage generation. And basically you can define your voltage and frequency reference because it is not connected from the grid. Once it is connected from the grid, the only difference is no need to install separate capacitor bank. It will take reactive power requirement from the grid. And grid will define the frequency and voltage reference for the operation of the generator. But in a standalone mode, suppose your frequency is not coming 50 Hertz by any means, no need to worry. If it is 49.5, 50.5, 49.7, 49.8, no need to worry because all loads are designed to work from 48 Hertz to 52 Hertz. There is no need to worry if frequency is not maintained at exactly at the same reference value. In isolated mode, this is the you can say good point. It is not strictly needed to maintain a constant frequency. And then saturation characteristics, we must know where to operate this generator. SEIG must be designed for working in saturation zone. Unlike the induction motor, which always works in the linear magnetic zone, it must be 20% minimum overexcited for sustainable no load or light load rated voltage, while induction motor will always be under excited. Keep in mind your generator must be overexcited to make the saturation point in this zone here, so that your voltage will not be in the avalanche mode. Otherwise, suppose you are operating your generator over here below the knee point, what will happen? If load variation is there, voltage will be decreasing in nature, and ultimately if voltage will decrease, current will decrease, then again voltage will decrease. It will create some kind of breakdown mechanism. That's why generator must be operated in the saturation zone. Then excitation capacitor requirement, how to calculate the excitation capacitor. Suppose for example I took here 2.2 kilowatt. If we consider the operating power factor of the induction generator is 0.9 or more at rated load, then reactive power of the generator is 2.2. By this formula you can calculate it, tan inverse cosine inverse 0.9. This is the power factor tan theta, and then it becomes this. By considering 20% more, you will have the reactive power value 1.268 kilowatt. Basically from this value and line voltage, suppose 220 volt is the line voltage, you will have the value of the capacitor, and the next available value you can connect for the excitation purpose. Now how to move in the research direction? All these things were very basic in nature, and we all know that there is nothing new in it. Now the thing is, if somebody wants to pursue the research, if somebody wants to start any work in this domain, what should be the general guideline? First of all, introduction and planning. You plan your system, introduce your system, then you define your research objectives and methodology. Suppose what you want to do, which kind of power you want to create. So these things will come in the objectives and methodology. System configuration and control. There are innumerable number of configurations are available. You define your simplest configuration and easy to control configuration. So this is the system configuration and control. Then simulation studies, and try to explore something new in the configuration, right? If somebody has used that configuration, then you can develop your system. You can develop your system, but the thing is publication will be difficult if you are using the same configuration. Simulation studies, you simulate in MATLAB Simulink or whatever the software you want to use, and finally prepare some prototype and experiment it and find the results and finally publish it. So this is the research outline. If somebody is working in this segment in his or her PhD, they can do it. Suppose I took one system here where this is the turbine. Some mic is on continuously. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. I have muted all.
Okay, nice. Now this is the rotor, and this rotor is rotating due to the wind speed. Rotor is coupled. This is single phase system, actually 2-wire single phase system. Rotor is coupled with this SEIG, self-excited induction generator. And this is the 2-winding generator. One is stator winding and second is auxiliary winding. Stator winding is known as main winding, which is connected from the loading conditions, and auxiliary winding is always connected from the excitation capacitor. That excitation capacitor requirement we have already seen in the calculation. That means everything is properly designed, then and only your simulation will work. If you are keeping some random values, some random design, suppose requirement is 1.2 kVAR, 20% over excitation is needed, and you are putting here 1 kVAR, your system will never work. So proper, you decide your system first and then you go into design of this system. Design means calculation of each and every value. Suppose I am using here RF and CF. RF and CF is the high pass filter. Why it is needed, I will discuss it. But the thing is, I want to highlight here, you need to have some concrete calculations behind deciding this RF and CF. Right? So basically SEIG, suppose SEIG, how to decide what will be the rating of the SEIG? So first you design your load. Suppose if you want to design distributed power generation for one household or for entire society or for two house or row houses, first you decide the loading conditions. Once loads are defined and in that load, you try to find out what is their minimum power factor and what will be their maximum power factor. Accordingly, you try to calculate what is the P limit, what is the Q minimum, Q maximum, P minimum, P maximum. All these things is the part of the load calculation. If somebody is doing PhD, they without these calculations, if they are doing randomly, it will be difficult to get the good result from the system. PCC is very important term here. We all are looking. PCC means point of common coupling. If you are working in this segment, this term is not new for you. But if somebody is not working in this segment means distributed generation or power quality, then this is the PCC. PCC means point of common coupling. Point of common coupling means where generator is connected, load is also connected. Now the third branch is compensator branch. Third branch is compensator. Why compensator is needed? I was discussing about the requirement of the power electronics interface. Why power electronic interface is needed at all in this kind of renewable energy based systems. As I told you, just a minute. Mouse is not okay. Yes. As I told you, you see here, this is the wind-based energy system, and wind is fluctuating with some randomness. If we are not keeping any in power electronic interface, if we are not keeping this kind of interface, what will happen? If wind is not available, load will not get the power. That's why some kind of alternative arrangement must be there which will maintain which will maintain reliability of the system. That means either wind is blowing at higher speed or lower speed, frequency will not fluctuate of the system. And if frequency is not fluctuating, that means generator and load, they are balanced, right? They are getting whatever the demand is there from the load side, generator is giving it. And one more important thing is, if this is non-linear load, suppose you can see here diode base RL load. This RL load is linear load, but you can see here this diode base RL load. Diode base RL load will create a distorted sinusoidal waveform over the terminals of the generator. And that will make generator power factor poor, because we all know in sinusoidal power factor is the, in sinusoidal voltage and current, power factor is the cosine angle between voltage and current. But if waveform is distorted, suppose voltage waveform is sinusoidal, but current waveform is distorted, then power factor is not easily defined. You have to calculate displacement power factor as well as distortion power factor. Distortion power factor, you know, it is the fundamental component divided by RMS value of the fundamental divided by total RMS. And displacement power factor means the angle between fundamental component and fundamental component of current and voltage. So by this way you will define the power factor, and you will see if your normal power factor is 0.9, distorted power factor, suppose your square wave current is there, suppose, because at PCC the third branch is not connected. I am not discussing about after connection. My slides have gone. Okay. Now, what I am looking here, I am discussing without the connection of the third branch at the PCC. Whatever I have discussed till the moment when generator was directly connected from the load without any power electronic interface, without any compensator connection. If load is demanding non-linear load current, that means non-sinusoidal current, generator have to supply it because they are connected in series. And if load is distorted, if load current is distorted means not sinusoidal, it may be square, quasi square, then power factor at the generator terminal becomes very poor. If normal power factor is 0.9, generator terminal power factor becomes 0.4, 0.5, very poor power factor. And ultimately who will suffer? The utility. Generator will suffer. The effect of poor power factor will be borne by this generator, and that is not good for the generator health. That's why for making the power factor better, for making the sinusoidal supply from generator in all cases, either load is demanding non-linear current or load is demanding sinusoidal current, irrespective of the loading condition, generator should supply only sinusoidal fundamental component current, right? That's why the third branch is needed. This third branch is needed to make the sinusoidal current from the generator side. Otherwise, whatever the load current, that will be equal to the generator current. If load current is non-linear, generator current will be non-linear. But after connection of this third branch, load current we cannot control. It will flow according to the loading condition, but we can maintain sinusoidal supply from the generator side in each and every case. That's why the role of compensator comes into picture, and compensator is needed. This is the third branch, and as I discussed, there is one RD. RD means dump load. Dump load means auxiliary load. With some another chopper circuit, it is needed to maintain the proper power balance, real power balance between generator, load, and dump resistor. And this is the battery. Here, this is the battery. Battery is used for storing the battery is at the DC link, right? Battery is connected at the DC link of this converter. Battery is used for the storage power. If suppose power is more at the generator end, demand is less, then surplus power will move towards the battery. Suppose battery is overcharged, still surplus power is there, then this chopper will be turned on, and power will be diverted over the dump register and it will be wasted. We can use some another applications so that we can utilize this power, but I have used as a dump register. This is the ripple filter, LF. This is the high pass filter because the switching frequency of this converter is quite high. It may be 5 to 20 kilohertz. And if 5 to 20 kilohertz switching frequency you are operating, there will be switching losses, there will be higher order harmonics, and these higher order harmonics may travel towards this generator and they may distort the voltage of this generator. That's why their high pass filters RF and CF are used. RF is very small, CF is quite large, and they are in combination, they are making one damping circuit where high order harmonics will be damped out so that your generator is safe. So all these are the components requirement in any system, and you have to design the filter component, ripple filter, LF. You have to design all these things, switch rating, what should be the switch rating. You have to design the dump load rating. You have to design this chopper rating. You have to design the load. You have to design the generator. Every design is needed when you are planning any system. So these things are very much important. There are some other configurations for 3-phase. That was the single phase configuration based on 2-wire system. And these are all isolated generation, load and generator directly connected. This is the 3-phase system where non-linear load is directly connected from the generator, and one topology, power electronic interface is provided here. This is isolated topology. The main advantage of using this isolated topology is the requirement of DC link is reduces because we are using the transformer, and transformer will reduce the DC link. Actually, the control at the lower voltage of the DC link is quite easier as compared to the higher voltage at the DC link. That's why sometimes isolated topologies are used. These are another topology. Some topologies are based on isolated, some topologies are based on non-isolated. If we are using non-isolated topology and still we are using transformer, basically in this system, there are 3 to 4 objectives to be solved. The first thing, as I told you, to maintain the sinusoidal supply from the generator, to make the power factor good at the generator, though whatever the power factor at the load end, we doesn't bother it. We do not bother it. We are bothering about the power factor from the generator side. Generator side power factor should not suffer. Power quality should be good from the generator side. That means load must be balanced. Load must be balanced means from each and every phases IA, IB, IC, current should be equal and they should be displaced by 120 degree. Neutral current, if it is a 4-wire system, neutral current should be compensated. That means there should not be any neutral current from the generator 4th wire, right? Harmonic compensation must be there. If some harmonics are created from the load side, that should be compensated by the compensator. So all these are the objectives. Just a minute. Hello. So all these are the objectives. We have to see about the objectives and accordingly we can define our configuration. Some configuration provides you flexibility. Suppose this transformer is used separately. This is used for neutral power compensation. That's why 4th wire neutral current compensation should not be there in the control because here active and passive both compensators are provided. Passive compensation is used for neutral wire. Similarly, this one, different configurations. You can utilize different transformer connections for compensating the neutral wire. This configuration I have used particularly. Sorry. And now we will go into the system design one by one. First of all, turbine design, then induction generator design, interfacing inductor design, design of VSC. VSC means this one, voltage source converter, design of transformer. Here it is not shown, but transformer is there, and battery backup requirement. How to calculate the battery backup? What should be the rating of the battery? what should be the ampere hour of the battery. So basically these components are designed in detail, and I am just showing you one glimpse I am giving you so that you will have idea about how to design the components. Turbine is very simple design. Basically there is the selection of proper wind turbine rating is utmost important, which is working as a prime mover for the generator. In this system, prime mover is our turbine, that is based on wind energy. The available mechanical power for energy conversion is dependent on Cp lambda. You may have heard about the power coefficient Cp, wind velocity Vw, area of the blade capital A. Actual mechanical power output can be written as, this formula is given everywhere. In each and every book, in each and every reference, this formula you will get. There is nothing new. Pm equals to Cp 1 by 2 rho AVQ, right? A is pi r square. R, what is R? Radius of the swept area. And what is the R basically? That is the axial length of the blade as well. That means axial length of the blade and swept area radius both are same. In general, Cp is dependent on tip speed ratio lambda. Lambda is tip speed ratio, and blade pitch angle generally we are taking here 0. The definition of tip speed ratio is lambda equals to omega r by Vw. Vw is the wind speed. We can have the value of lambda. Once lambda is known, we will have the value of Cp. Once Cp is known, Vw known, rho is known, pi is already known, Pm is known, we will have the value of R. And suppose power rating of the single phase generator is this much. Now we are going into the reverse calculation. Power rating of the single phase generator, and the reverse calculation means how you have decided the power rating of the single phase generator according to the load. That's why I was discussing, first you design your load, then you go to the generator, and then finally you go to the turbine requirement. The power rating of the single phase generator is suppose 3 horsepower. It becomes 2238 watt. By assuming general efficiency of the induction generator is 85%, mechanical input requirement at generator becomes 2632 watt. 10% additional coupling losses because they are not directly coupled. They have coupled with some kind of coupling arrangement, mechanical arrangement, gearboxes and all. Then you have to calculate the power at the turbine by assuming 10% additional losses. It becomes 3000 watt. Now this is the watt requirement from the turbine. Just by put this value over the PM, and other values are already discussed here, and you can put all those values, finally calculate R. Now you just see the result is interesting. Here interesting results we have obtained for 3 horsepower generator, almost 1.4 meter. 1.4 meter blade is required, right? Other mechanical design considerations may be there, like what should be the basic design of the blade, that is the mechanical aspects, but here we have just designed the lengthwise what should be the normal length of the blade. So this is the blade length. Similarly, you can calculate for any power requirement from the turbine. Just you suppose keep here 5000 watt, 6000 watt, 7000 watt, and wind speed is important parameter. Normally you have to access by anemometer what is the normal wind speed there, and accordingly you will calculate the radius. Now design of interfacing inductor is very important. Random design is not possible. Suppose every design is good, but if your LF is not properly designed, filter, current ripple filter, it is known as current ripple filter, then your system will not work. That's why the choice of an AC inductor is a function of permissible peak to peak current ripple, DC bus voltage and modulating frequency of the VSC is given as this formula. This is given everywhere in my papers also. You will see LF equals to root 3x VDC divided by 12 K FM IPP. IPP is the current ripple, peak to peak current ripple. That means inductor design is dependent on peak to peak current ripple. VDC generally taken as 1.6 times, right? Suppose your system line voltage is 220 volt, VDC requirement is 400. It is nothing but AC to DC conversion formula. It will give the DC side value, where X is the modulating index, generally it is taken as 1. K is the overloading factor. Sometimes 10%, 20% overloading may be provided. FM is the switching frequency. It is also known 5 to 10 kilohertz, and it depends on the system complexity. IPP is the peak to peak value of the VSC current. Generally, it is 10% of the VSC current. Now means this calculation is based on the VSC current, because IPP is defining LF and IPP is dependent on VSC current. VSC current, if VSC current is known, then 10% of the VSC current you will keep IPP. You will put here other parameters are already known like X, K, FM, and by putting all those values here, you will get the amount of LF. So how to calculate the VSC calculation current? How to calculate the VSC current? The VSC current is calculated by very simple calculation. The VSC supply are absorbed the active and reactive powers based on input wind speed and connected consumer loads. As I told you in the system configuration, whatever the surplus power that is going through the VSC, and suppose power is less, load is more, then power reverse will flow. Power will flow in the reverse direction. It will supply to the load. Whatever the stored energy in the battery, that will be used in low generation case, right? Considering the worst case when there is no load connected at PCC. Suppose load is disconnected and power is generated. Then what will happen? Entire power will be diverted towards the VSC for storage purpose. Then it has been reported that SEIG needs 140-160% of the reactive power to supply the rated power. Therefore, for 2.2 kilowatt, 3.5 kilowatt load, to supply the rated power of 2.2 kilowatt, a 2.5 kilowatt capacitor bank is connected at a SEIG terminal, and VSC has to supply deficit reactive power of 1 kilowatt to SEIG bus. Therefore, rating of the VSC can be defined by 2.4 kVA. The VSC current is given as follows. If rating of the VSC is known, then kVA means volt multiplied by current, VL into IVSC. The obtained value of the VSC current from 3.5, it becomes 10 ampere, and 10% of the 10 ampere becomes 1 ampere. That means IPP is now known here. IPP is known here 1 ampere. By putting this value in the previous equation of LF, we will get the inductor value 4.48. If it is available, then you take it. Otherwise, take the next practical value. Suppose here it is 5 million. Then and only then your system will work. If you are keeping other than these values, suppose, okay, there may be some range 4 to 6. Now from this calculation, you have idea during the simulation what should be the range. Suppose this is the calculation, it may not work exactly with the simulation, but it is not showing random value. It is not like you select 21, 25. You have to select between 4 and 6, 7, like that in this range. Selection of the battery backup. But how calculation is done in case of battery? Its capacity is dependent on the requirement amount of power used as a backup and storage. The voltage at the VSC input must be greater than 1.6 times. You see battery voltage rating. Battery voltage is connected at the DC link, and the DC link minimum voltage requirement is 1.6 times of the supply side voltage. If supply side voltage is 220 volt, you have to multiply it 1.6, you will get 396. Practical rating may be selected as 400 and 420. Suppose it depends on your battery capacity. If suppose you are keeping 350, compensation will not occur, because you have to override the peak of the amplitude of the supply system voltage for proper compensation. Calculation of ampere hour. Now you have calculated the battery voltage in this calculation. How to calculate the ampere hour? Only because we all know battery is having two ratings. One is voltage and second is ampere hour. How to calculate the ampere hour capacity for the backup? If suppose 1 hour backup is provided to the entire load, again it depends on the number of hours. Suppose somebody wants to provide 5 hours backup, 2 hours backup, total calculation becomes different. Suppose here I have shown one calculation of 1 hour backup. and without any contribution from the generator, the required kilowatt hour is this much. That means number of units will be 0.22 kilowatt hour. The ampere hour of the base is, suppose 240 volt is the battery voltage, then it becomes 0.22, almost 9.1 ampere hour. Next practical value you can select. Now how to design the transformer? The transformer, suppose very simple connection is star delta, and it is used for neutral power compensation, neutral current compensation. Basically, we are using star delta transformers. If suppose somebody may ask, what is the need of active and passive filter both? Passive filter is used here just for neutral current compensation. Suppose if somebody don't want to use, you have to go for 4-leg D-STATCOM configuration. If you are using star delta separate connection, transformer connection for neutral power compensation, only 3 legs are needed from the D-STATCOM side. D-STATCOM means voltage source converter. The star delta winding transformer having 1:3 turns ratio. We all know from the machine concepts. Turns ratio is connected at PCC for neutral current compensation. Star winding of the transformer is connected with 3 phases of the PCC, while secondary delta winding are connected in isolated manner. It is just make one delta, closed delta. Rated generated line voltage appears across the primary star winding. Therefore, the voltage appearing across each winding of the transformer is VAB by √3, right? Because neutral point is there, neutral to line is connected. That's why each transformer winding will face phase voltage. That is VAB is the line voltage divided by √3, and voltage appearing across the secondary delta winding is line voltage, because they are making one closed delta. They are connected from A to B, AB, B to C, BC, and C to A, CA. And suppose for feeding 0.8 power factor lagging full load from the SEIG system, the load KVA can be estimated as this. And from this relation, because voltage is known, ISA will be known. One phase current is known. And if one phase current is known, it is one empirical formula, empirical relation, where it is seen that almost 70% more current will be flowing from the neutral wire in worst case. That's why you have to take 1.7 multiplier in the phase current ISA. 1.73 multiplied by 11.39, it becomes 19.7 ampere. This is the worst condition. Worst condition means once 33% load is disconnected. Therefore, the KVA rating of the transformer can be calculated as, because current is now known, your KVA rating will be known. Voltage is known phase wise as well as line wise. You take one phase multiplied by the supply current and multiplied by 3. You will have total KVA requirement of the transformer. And in isolated configuration, current flowing through the transformer is the sum of the neutral current along with the current supplied from the converter for reactive power compensation. So by this way, transformer is designed. Now, how to operate the, now components are designed. All components are designed. There are so many other components designed also, but lecture becomes very lengthy and everything cannot be discussed in very short time. That's why I'm moving towards now control of the entire system. How to control? Basically, everything is dependent on the operation of the VSC. If you are not using VSC, system becomes less reliable or totally unreliable. Efficient use of the generator will not be there. That's why third branch is connected at the PCC. Right now, if I am saying PCC, most of the participants may be understanding what is PCC. Now, control of distributed power generation system. How to control and why to control? The need of the control is, we all know switching actions of the converter is needed. There are switches. Suppose if we are taking 3-phase system, there will be 6 switches or sometimes 8 switches. Suppose in this case, if transformer is used separately, 6 switch configuration is needed and 6 switch must be operated in a particular manner. Randomly we cannot operate it. right? Whatever the requirement of our system, whatever our objectives, accordingly we have to generate one reference current. Reference current. Reference current will generate one modulating signal. Modulating signal will be compared with some carrier signal. Carrier signals of higher frequency. And accordingly, pulse patterns will be created. Those set of pulse patterns will operate the switches, and your desired output from the converter will be generated. And all those effects which were created by the loading conditions like non-linearity, harmonics, poor power factor, much more reactive power requirement from the generator, neutral current problem, all these problems will be solved just by creating one sinusoidal reference. Because reference means you are generating one reference, and that reference is generated from the load current. That reference will create the modulating signal, and that modulating signal will solve every problem of the system.
Sorry, sir, to disturb you. Can you hear
Yes,
me,
madam.
sir? Sir, I really find it interesting. Can you please repeat? I'm writing, but I missed some point. Reference current generates. I missed
Yes,
the
yes.
point.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm repeating. See, why control of the VSC is needed? Control of the VSC is needed for the entire reliability of the system. How to operate the VSC? VSC is operated from one sinusoidal reference. Reference means reference current. Basically, we are discussing here current control technique. That's why current reference will be generated. In active power filter, current reference will be generated. Current reference is generated from the load current. I will discuss it, how it will be generated. I will discuss everything, but just I am showing you some brief summary. I want to create some interest like Madam has asked.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sinusoidal reference is created from the load current. Sinusoidal reference will be utilized to create the modulating signal for the voltage source converter. Modulating signal will be compared with the carrier signal of 5 to 20 kilohertz. You can use according to your convenience and switch rating. If suppose 10 kilohertz is suitable, you can use 10 kilohertz carrier signal. Modulating signal will be fundamental frequency signal. It will be only having 50 hertz signal. Modulating signal and carrier signal will be compared, and switching pulse patterns will be decided. These switching pulse patterns will create output from the voltage source converter. And this output voltage source converter will be the PWM output. PWM output that will consist the similar harmonics which was demanded from the load, that will supply the similar reactive power which was demanded by the load, that will make generator supply current sinusoidal, that will improve power factor at the generator terminal, that will make the power balance at the generator terminal. So all these problems are solved just by creating one sinusoidal reference. Reference means we are creating sinusoidal reference. Your generator will always follow that reference only. And who will force generator to follow this source reference? This reference which is created, compensator will force the generator operation to follow the generated reference current sinusoidal. So this is the one outline why we are going into the control of the distributed power generation. Now we will see something interesting. Any question, any query we can take? 1 hour, I think so over. So we can take queries if you have. Otherwise, we can move.
Sir, one query from my side.
Yes.
Sir, as you have already told the, I mean, the component which is required to create the wind turbine model, correct?
Yes. Yes.
No, sir, I'm working on this, but as far as MATLAB is concerned, I mean, it's really difficult for me to find out that you already told that it is a separately excited induction generator we can use. So from where to start for having a good sinusoidal? Suppose if I want a 230 volt 50 hertz sinusoidal, pure sinusoidal waveform or the supply of a wind turbine, then how to start the calculating the parameter which is required as far as MATLAB is concerned?
Yeah, that is very important question, and I spent almost 3 to 4 months. Whatever you have asked.
Yes, sir.
I was also facing this problem, the same kind of problem which you are facing.
Yes, sir.
But after so many, actually, if you see the reference papers, you will get the data of the generator or
Yes,
data
sir.
of the turbine.
Yes, sir.
But
Yes, sir.
those ratings and data are not working when you are going into simulation. Correct?
Correct, sir. Correct. And one more thing, sir. If I want to generate, suppose if I want a particular specification of a wind turbine which I want to produce or I want to create in MATLAB, it is really very difficult. I went to go through Prabha Kundur also, and I am totally clueless.
Yeah, correct. I can understand your problem because I have already faced, I gone through
Yes, sir.
all through these phases.
Yes, sir.
But suppose if you are needed, if you are very much desperate to get it,
Yes, sir.
you just mail me. I will send you the exact model what I used. Right?
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Because
Because
I took the snapshot of the slide which you told earlier regarding how to design the transformer, generator, and so on. But the thing
yes.
is, when I used to apply all this, it will not work. I mean, many times I did that, but it is stuck in my mind, and I am not able to find out if I want to. Create a model in MATLAB, just a simple model of having a SFIG plus
Yes,
to
yes.
create a pure sinusoidal waveform. I am not getting it, sir. Thank you so much,
Yes,
sir.
yes.
I'll take your mail ID.
Yes, I will definitely help you.
Thank
I
you.
will be happy to help you.
Thank you so
And the
much, sir.
thing is, suppose there are 10 data.
Yes, sir.
If any one data is mismatched, suppose I am talking about simple magnetization characteristic of SEIG. And in
Yes.
the magnetization characteristics, there are some initial conditions as well.
Correct,
Suppose
sir.
you are just missing one initial condition,
Okay.
then entire generator operation will not work. That's why it is very tricky thing, and it is not easy to handle. You are right. If we are, but after 3 4 months trial and error,
Yes, sir.
I was fortunate enough to find the good operation from the SEIG. And
Okay.
the same thing I shared with so many people because I know it. If with the help of this small thing, if somebody is able to save 3 to 4 months, that is much better, and that
I
will be my actual contribution.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Definitely, I'll take your mail ID and I'll connect to you after having this workshop.
Yes, definitely. You
Thank
are
you.
most welcome, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now I'm moving ahead. Just I told why control is there. Control is needed for the distributed power generation, and it is very interesting as well. Why it is not working? My slides are not okay. Moving. Now, what should be the feature of the control algorithm? The required features of any control algorithm is its simplicity in implementation and fast dynamical response under sudden input or output variations. Therefore, some control algorithm is presented here to control the operation of 3-phase as well as single phase. Here I written only 3-phase, but I will show you some single phase operation as well. These control algorithms are adjusting. If some people are working in this area, they should ask some question if they have, please. And I am going not very fast so that you can understand something. It is not like it is just for 2 hours and come and go. You just be attentive. from your end so that you will get something. Definitely you will get something from this session. These control algorithms are adjusting their weights. If suppose it is adaptive mechanism, there are two kind of controls basically. If before starting I should discuss it. There are two kind of controls, classical and adaptive. Classical means like SRF theory, IRPT, power balancing, and then alpha beta transformation base, Clark transformation base, where you are using PLLs, right? And then all those theories are based on classical concepts. But there are so many problems in the classical control as far as dynamics is concerned. That's why nowadays people are working in the model predictive control, adaptive control, sliding mode control. In this segment, people are working more. So these control algorithms, as far as adaptive control algorithm is concerned, there are weights. Weights means there are some nodes and you can say tying link from one node to another node. So this link is given some weight value, right? It is like a neural network. These control algorithms are considerably fast, accurate, and robust with respect to time varying harmonics and frequency. Basically, frequency is one parameter if you are discussing about isolated system. Sometimes frequency fluctuate, you have to control it. Its structure should be simple, which requires only gain and integral blocks. Basically, these controls, these are based on adaptive. Only gain integral blocks are needed. And due to this reason, these are taking very less computational time and very easy to implement on any digital platform. Suppose I was using DSpace 1104 and Microlab Box. These controls are very easy to implement on those controllers. Why it is not moving actually? Yes. Now I am taking here some basic, very basic control. This is known as synchronous reference frame theory, SRF control theory. And this is classical in nature. This is the classical category of control. Suppose you see this is I was discussing what I was talking, and madam has also asked question how to create the reference. So these are the ultimate references, ISA star, ISB star, and ISC star. And if you see on the DSpace, you will if you see on the DSO, you will see these three reference currents will be sinusoidal in nature. And how they have calculated? So this is very simple calculation, right? And this calculation is needed to operate the voltage source converter. Now everything is derived from the load current. You can see here ILA, ILB, ILC. It is converted into two decoupled component just for segregating the active and reactive. ABC to DQ0 transformed, giving ILD and ILQ for eliminating some interharmonic problems and oscillations. LPF is used. Just a minute. Hello. Good morning. Bolliye. Actually, yes, I am in the currently I am in the lecture. Please call me after 2 hours. We will discuss it. Okay. ILA, ILB, and ILC. ILA, ILB, and ILC. ABC to DQ0, ILD and ILQ, LPF is used for eliminating the interharmonics problem. Then IDDC, this is the purely DC component you will get here. And this is the IQ DC component you will get here. This is VSA, VSB, VSC, and this is the amplitude. This calculation is done. Actually, for getting the amplitude of this VSC, VSA, VSB, VSC amplitude can be calculated under root 2 by 3 VSA square plus VSB square plus VSC square. This is the VS star. This plus minus is just compare the actual calculated value with the reference value. You will get here with the help of pi controller, you will get one reactive component here, IQR. And the reactive component is calculated from here, IQDC, IQR plus minus, you will get here the reference reactive component. And here it is similarly for the DC link control side, this is plus minus. LPF is again used for eliminating the some oscillations from the DC value. PI controller is used here. Loss is created. That means this is the loss in the converter side. IDDC is the active component from the load. Loss is the occurring in the source converter, and these two components are added, and then ID star is created. The ID star and IQ star. Then ultimately these are the active component, combined active component. This is the combined reactive component. DQ0 to ABC again used. DQ0 means DQ to ABC conversion is there, and we are getting ISA star, ISB star and ISC star. And just by taking this reference current with actual current, we are getting one modulating signal. By taking the difference of the reference current with actual current, we are getting the modulating signal, and modulating signal is compared with the we can say carrier signal, and we are getting the gate pulses over here. So this is very simple calculation, but it is based on three-phase PLL, and PLL operation using three components: phase detection and VCO. Voltage VCO means that is voltage control oscillator. So that is dependent on theta. If theta measurement is not done perfectly from the supply side, the cosine theta and sine theta component will not come exactly in the 90 degree, you can say in quadrature. That's why entire operation will be affected. That's why entire operation is dependent on some theta measurement, right? And if theta measurement, if suppose voltage is somewhat distorted, theta measurement will suffer. And the dynamics of the three-phase PLL is dependent on integrator. That's why it will not respond as much as faster. That means your system is needed much faster dynamics, but PLL dynamics is somewhat slower. That's why these kind of controls are not very much accurate and you can say faster. Now, yes, actually, just I want to. The SHEPLL has suffered from the two major problems. Basically, there are some adaptive PLL based techniques are also related like SHEPLL, but there are two major problems in this control. The first is its transient performance, very slow due to presence of moving average filter. Actually, if you are using unnecessary filters like LPF or HPF or moving average, its transient performance will suffer. And second one is its inability to provide unit vectors. Unit vectors, if suppose unit vector means unit templates like sinusoidal and cosinusoidal templates with unit magnitude. That's why learning based techniques are rarely utilized in this area, which fast and accurate. Till the that means since last 3-4 years, learning based techniques are very much introduced in this area, but before that, rare learning based techniques were reported in the literature. So learning based techniques is one scope, is used, can be used in this segment. Learning based techniques are rarely utilized in this area till now. That is very fast and accurate. That's why people can use it, right? And it is giving very less steady state error in the reference extraction. See, there are two things in the steady state: covariance and steady state error. Covariance means it is the variation of the actual signal around the steady state error. If covariance is 0, steady state error may be there, but in a small value. But if covariance is large, it will contributing to a steady state error. That's why statistics will say about the covariance and steady state error. But the thing is, these two things we have to keep in mind. Looking at the above discussion, there is a fair scope to apply different adaptive control algorithm for power quality improvement in the distributed power generation. The selection of control depends on the dynamic performance, steady state covariance, and computational burden associated with it. This is one control which I particularly used, adaptive amplitude notch filter, right? And in this control, there are two fundamental components. Load components, fundamental alpha and beta is created, and with the help of alpha and beta, then finally reference is created, and those references can be used for modulating signal. And this is the dynamics. These are the dynamical equations. They can be modeled in the MATLAB. Basically, this MATLAB diagram is modeled through these three equations: 4.1, 2, 3, 4. And I was talking about estimation of unit templates. Unit templates can be calculated from here. UPA means unit template in phase. UQO means unit template in quadrature phase. V alpha by Vt, V beta by Vt. Vt is nothing but under root V alpha square plus V beta square, terminal voltage magnitude. And these are the estimation. These are the steps how to estimate the reactive and active and reactive component of the reference current. Then FEM, reference frequency minus actual frequency. This is the frequency error. It is processed in the PI controller. This is the PI controller formula. It is nothing but proportional and integration, right? Then this component is created with the help of IDP. IDP is created from the controller loss component plus fundamental component added, right? And ISPT, just multiplying by template, we will get the sinusoidal component. Similarly, from the second loop, we can get the similar quantity. And finally, both are added to get the final reference IS star. So these are the stability analysis of the ANF. By using Bode plot, we can see here only 50 Hz component is allowed to pass. Otherwise, all are eliminated. This is another control, AVF control. This control is published in IEEE transactions of power electronics. Adaptive vectorial filter control. This is very simple control based on vectorial concept. Alpha beta vectors are used here. Just only the difference is alpha beta vectors. And again, with the similar nature of filter, we are creating the reference current. Reference current over here. My mouse is ISPT and ISQT, and multiplied from the templates, we are creating the pulses for the converter. These are the dynamical equations. This is again the stability analysis. Whenever we are using any non-learning based controls, we have to discuss the Bode plot with different parameters. This is one Bode plot where we are looking about the gain margin, phase margin with different gains. Now simulation performance of the first control, what is shown here, ANF control algorithm. Simulation performance is carried out for the following cases with variable linear load and fixed speed. You see there are 4 cases: variable linear load, fixed speed; fixed linear load, variable speed; variable non-linear load, fixed speed; fixed non-linear load, and variable speed. So we can see here the simulation performance with linear load. When linear current is there, sinusoidal current, we can see yes, in this one. Mouse batteries, I think so problem. Yes, you can see here sinusoidal voltage, sinusoidal current, compensating current is also sinusoidal due to linear load, and this is the IL is sinusoidal in nature due to linearity, and then terminal voltage magnitude Vt. DC link is maintained around 400 volt. Frequency is almost maintained around 50 hertz, and speed is given. Turbine speed and wind speed both are given. Wind speed is 12 meter per second. But the important thing is we have changed the load. If you see here, the clear cut peaks are showing you the load variations. That's why this is the case when variable linear load with fixed wind speed. Wind speed is not changed. Only load is changed, but still supply voltage and its frequency is maintained around the reference value, right? So this is the simulation result with the first case linear load, and similarly here also we can see the differences, and wind speed is changed. Now what is happening here, if you are changing the wind speed at this moment 4.2 second, what is happening? Supply is sinusoidally maintained, current is increased. Current is increased. The reason is more power is generated from the turbine due to increased wind speed. So supply current is increased. When supply current is increased, battery charging will increase. We can see here, I think so battery parameter is not given here, but it will be increasing. Frequency is maintained fixed, right? And the battery is, wind speed is changed from 12 meter per second to 13 meter per second. So by this way, these are the simulation results with non-linear load. When non-linear load is connected, this is the results. This is the compensating current. This is the sinusoidal voltage. This is the sinusoidal current. This is the load current. Load current is almost square wave current, right? Load is changing, and then torque and all other parameters. But the important thing is we are able to control the voltage and frequency with sinusoidal current. The important thing is you can see load is this one, but current is sinusoidal, right? Similarly, in other case, when voltage speed is changed. And these are some harmonic spectra and power quality indices. This is the load harmonics 30.63% with 10.2 ampere current, while current in the supply with TSD is 3.8% and voltage is 4.5%. By this way, it is maintained below the IEEE permissible limit. And all controls are compared here. These three controls are compared, and we found that this control is performing much better. AVF control. You can see the lines of the AVF. It is showing this much variation over the dynamics, while the settling time of the AVF is very less as compared to other two. Now these are some hardware results by which we can say these are some hardware results. We can say here this is the sinusoidal supply current, non-linearity in the load current, compensator current, supply voltage, right? And this is again some results, steady state results with one control. This is the another control. And now here it is very important to see. This is the, we can say it is not any comparison, but it is just performance of the entire system, how it is working. Dump load, battery, load, generator, all are PL, PB, PL is more than PG, then PD, then this PG is not changed. Suppose PG is maintained at constant level. This is the PB, this is the PL, PL means load, load is increasing. Initially load was 0 up till this moment. Now from here load is increasing. When there was no load, battery and generation both were equal. That means battery was charging with the generation, right? And when load is implemented, discharging in the battery occurs at this moment. They are unequal and opposite. And when overloading is there on the system, battery start discharging from this moment. From this moment it started discharging. This result is already published in the IEEE transactions of power electronics. These are the some steady state performance, harmonic indices in steady state, And now use of adaptive theory based control mechanism. And these are the steps. Yes, I was discussing about weights. You can see the difference without adaptation and with adaptation. In adaptation case, xn is the input. These are just sampling instants xn minus 1 up to xn minus n plus 1. And this is omega 0, omega 1 up to omega n minus 1 into n. And these are the node points. That's why I was saying it is a weight. This input is multiplied by weight. It is creating the summation of this is creating the yn. Yn means actual output, desired output. They are compared to each other and error is created. Error is processed with some LMS based adaptive control mechanism. That's why here it is written like ADA line. ADA line means adaptive linear network. It is the this is the ADA line mechanism and are its variants of the ADA line is used here to process the error, and there are three equations for governing this entire operation. The filtering means nothing but yn equals to xn multiplied by omega n, error estimation en equals to dn minus yn, and type weight vector adaptation. So omega n plus 1 equals to omega n plus 2 mu e xn. This is the convergence equation, very useful, and this equation is running over here, adaptation control algorithm, right? The entire operation is dependent on the error processing. If you are maintaining error 0 within few cycles, your controller is fast. If you are unable to maintain error 0 within cycles, processor will be slow. This I used in my work. Actually, this is one Lorentzian based filter where the similar kind of controls are used, only there are some gain parameters are utilized here. Additionally, gain parameter, and that is diagonal of gn0, gn1, right? So these things, and gn formula gi is given here, and then I equals to 0 to 1 we can take and we can utilize here. Basically, currents are used for phase wise and active reactive weights are calculated. All active weights are added over here. All reactive weights are added over here. For power balancing 1/3 is taken. That means averaging is done. Average value is again feedback to this control. And ultimately these are the similar PI control frequency, reference frequency, the actual frequency. They are calculated. Error is processed in PI. Loss component is created. Active component of the load current is coming from here. They are added to make one active component, entire active component. Similarly, entire reactive component, and they are multiplied from the template. Ultimately, three currents are calculated phase wise: ISA star, ISB star, and ISC star over here. And they are compared with the actual currents processed in the pulse width modulation. Pulses are created, right? These are the conversion formulas. Suppose how to calculate VT from the VSA, VSB, VSC. So this is the formula I already told you. VT equals to under root 2/3 VSA square plus VSB square plus VSC square. Unit templates are calculated. UPA, UQA, UPA, UPV, UPC, and then by using this matrix, quadrature components are created. This is one Lorentzian filter. This is published in IEEE transactions on industry application. This is another filter, that is the momentum LMS control. Basically, these all are ADA line controllers, variants of ADA line controllers. So basically, you can see here the third term. This is the momentum control. Accelerator parameter is there just for making the solution much more faster. So this, otherwise, if you can see the first two terms, then first two terms are exactly similar as ADA line. But the third term is momentum. It is providing some momentum in the convergence process, and similar calculations are utilized, and this control I was able to publish in the IEEE transactions are industrial electronics. This was the system where the controls were utilized. This was the system, turbine, generator, and this is the transformer utilized for neutral current compensation, all these things. And simulation data, this is the simulation data. Three-phase distributed power generation system. This is the simulation data of transformer and load. This is just one photograph I kept here for MATLAB simulation. How to design the turbine generator, MATLAB modeling of the load. By this way you can model. Then this is the Lorentzian adaptive filter, how to model in the MATLAB. There are inner blocks as well, but this is the basic. And these are again some simulation results for calculation of reference current, IS star, right? No load, you can see load current here non-linear. Totally you can see here non-linear load current, but reference current is sinusoidal by utilizing the intermediate steps as discussed in the previous slides. Similarly, here it is the linear load, but linear load unbalance is created at this point 7.5. And we can see here due to this unbalance, if load current is balanced, there was no neutral current. We can see here neutral current is 0 till this moment. After this neutral current of the transformer and neutral current of the load, they both are appearing just equal and opposite to each other. That's why source current neutral becomes 0. And this is the supply sinusoidal current balance. This is the compensator current. Important thing is voltage and frequency is maintained without any harmonics. All these objectives has been achieved. Other controls are there. And this is the with linear, but only thing is we have changed the wind speed. We can see here the diaphragm of this current is somewhat increased due to increased wind speed. Similarly, this is the no load current, unbalance is created, no load unbalance is created. This is the compensator current, and you can see the in non-linear case, we can see here the 3 times frequency, zero sequence. Neutral current is also known as zero sequence, and zero sequence current is having 3 times frequency as compared to fundamental frequency. So these things are verified here. And we can see here the harmonic spectrum in steady state, the similar kind of harmonic spectrum. Load current TSD is 30%, TSD in the supply voltage 2.2, TSD in the supply current 4.8, all these things. And there were 5 controls utilized and all were compared. Again, AVF is giving a very nice result. They are shown here some separation. They are now design of the system. This is system design. I'm not going into much detail of this. Just I am showing you some photographs. How to design the voltage sensors. Wide voltage sensors are needed. These are some design steps. Design of current sensors, right? And these things are utilized. Then sensors are looking like this. Design of isolation circuit. Isolation circuit is needed between the IGBT driver and controller. And these are the experimental data. These are some experimental results. Load removal. And we can see here KCL and KVL both are equivalently good. If we are removing the load from any phase, compensator current and source current becomes equal, right? That means KCL is hold good. This is the battery current by battery voltage, ISA and ICA. And load injection is there, decreases in battery charging. If we are injecting the load, battery charging will reduce. And if we are removing the load, battery charging will increase. All these things, 2 dynamics are showing the battery response, and all other things are showing just balance operation. This is showing the balance operation, ISA, ISB, ISC. Load is removed from one phase, but still all currents are maintained. This is the neutral current compensation. Currents are phase. They are equal and opposite in phase. This is the input side transients recorded, steady state results, and conclusions. Now, these are the references, some papers of my side. You can download from the IEEE website. You can read the books as well. And if you have any query, we can discuss. This is all about from my side. Hello. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible. You can proceed. Hello, B, sir.
Participants? Yes, yes.
One of the participants is asking questions.